Hey everyone, if you told me 10 or even 20 years ago that I'd be able to play computer games on my TV using an Xbox controller without having a console or a PC actually hooked up to the TV, I would have thought you were mad. But that's now the position we're in, because many smart TVs actually support cloud gaming apps like GeForce Now, Xbox Cloud and Boostroid. But it's not just a TV where you can play cloud gaming, you could play on a Chromebook just by opening a Chrome tab and going to boostroid.com, or you could play on a laptop as well. And this laptop has like an 8th gen Intel CPU, a mid-range one, and no graphics card at all. It shouldn't be possible, but of course that's how cloud gaming actually works, because the games are actually rendered on the cloud gaming servers, and then the gaming graphics are streamed back to your Chromebook or your laptop or your TV or your computer, whatever you use. You can play with it as long as you've got access to a web browser, or you can actually download the Boostroid app. Boostroid used to have 2 different packages that you could sign up for that came with different resolutions, but recently they've streamlined that and they just have a single 4K package. And there used to be a deal on... I just realised my guy's dying here. I was in a hazard zone, wasn't I? Whoops. But basically, as I was saying, Boostroid now have a single package which comes with 4K resolution support, and it supports up to 120 FPS. And I've tested that a bunch of times, and actually it works really well, as we'll see later. But one of the reasons I was actually eager to try out Boostroid is that last year, GeForce Now announced that they were introducing a playtime cap. So basically each month you have 100 hours max to play games. And that might sound like quite a lot, but actually 3.5 hours a day will exceed that cap. So I was quite interested to actually test out the Boostroid service, and it does work on a laptop, but for now I'll actually go back to some quick TV testing to see how it works there. This is a completely independent video. They did reach out to me and see if I wanted to try it out, so I said yes, but actually I have no issues paying for it like I did in my previous GeForce Now video. So this is a fully independent review, and I have found issues with the service, which I will talk about freely throughout this video. So let's try out a training course and see how that actually works. And I suck using a controller. I'm used to actually using a keyboard, but let's have a look. Shoot with RT, aim with LT. Ah! Okay. Okay, so that worked, and there's no input latency, you'll be pleased to know. Let's have a look. Aim. There we are, that's what we want. Aim. Right. That's not too bad. X to reload. I'm getting the hang of this. Moving target. Yeah, that'll be fine. Oh, no, it's not. It's so hard with a controller. Let's try that out. This looks really good as well. I did notice a little bit of lag every so often, but actually overall it's pretty good. And actually this is all via the cloud, but you wouldn't actually know that. It does feel really seamless. And yes, this is wired Ethernet. It might be a bit buggier but with Wi-Fi, but overall this is actually a fairly good experience, and it looks good and everything else. I'm going to try a different game now though. No gamepad. Oh, there we are. Fine. I was going to be worried then. I said no gamepad detected. Right, so this is always the buggiest bit of actually playing cloud games, and I found this with my GeForce Now review as well, as often you just get empty screens and you're waiting for everything to load. And right now I need to actually accept this legal agreement, which is a complete pain because I can't see how to do that on my controller. So I'm going to actually have to switch to my cursor mode, which is a complete pain. So I'm going to do that. Can I just click accept? Yes, I can. With some of them you need to scroll all the way down, which is a complete pain. So again, this looks really good. It's a lot better than my current system, and you know, that's no massive surprise because effectively these cloud servers are really powerful systems, and obviously you only get a small chunk of it. Other people are playing on it as well in a virtualized environment, but you're still going to have access to really good gaming hardware ultimately. So this is the 7900 XT. Cloud gaming does have a place, I think, and actually you look at what's happening at the moment with AMD, you know, delaying their latest graphics cards, and Nvidia's ones apparently being really short supply, and actually cloud gaming can be a good way of tiding yourself over. So I think that worked fairly well. Cloud gaming is always a little bit clunky when you're launching the game, especially if you've never played that game before with that particular cloud provider, but once you're actually in a game, it was really flawless. So if we switch on over to a PC now, whether you've got a graphics card or not, you know, the actual hardware in their cloud servers is going to be a lot better than you probably have. So if we go on over to Hogwarts Legacy, for example, let's play that on the PC and actually see how that works. So it says I've got inline game installation, here we are. So we now need to accept this, and immediately this has actually gone into full screen mode the browser has. And if I want to get out of it, or if I want to look at any of the config options, I can press Control and 1. And obviously here then you can change the FPS rating and things like that, which is quite cool. This monitor only supports 60 FPS, but it is good. It can go up to that 120 FPS if you wanted, because this is obviously a 4K. But let's go back in there. So game installation, I've got to accept this. And this is a bit of a weird thing with cloud gaming, is it sometimes has to download everything onto the cloud servers, even though it already has it, which is a bit strange. So sometimes you click install and it works immediately. In this case, it obviously hasn't done that, but that's fine. You do often just see a blank screen quite a lot with cloud gaming, and it was the same with GeForce Now, while you just wait for everything to actually initialize. Finally, we're actually in and it's loading, which is good. And yeah, this looks really, really good. So the bitrate is really high, as you can see. And what that means is really you're at 4K, because if you were at 1080p, you'd probably look at a bitrate of around 20 megabits per second. The fact we're at more than 80 is actually quite impressive, because that means it's streaming the full 4K quality. And actually, this looks really good. It looks better than on my own computer. So I'm kind of curious what rendering resolution is actually running at now. So that is not there. Oh, everything's low. That's interesting. So by default, Boostroid does actually set the resolution, and then it says ideally you shouldn't tweak it. And actually, yeah, the rendering resolution here is, so it's upscaled basically, is using upscaling, as we can see there. And then instead of on low, let's actually see whether I can put everything as ultra. I wonder what happens if I go to native 4K though. So turn off upscaling, go to native 4K. Oh, okay, so still looks pretty good. It hasn't hammered the FPS. I'm still getting a stable 60, so that is pretty good. And even though I don't have a monitor that supports 120 Hertz, I'm actually going to change my FPS rate to that. But overall, you know, this is as close to maxed out as you're going to get. And obviously it is streaming at close to that 120 FPS range. So if you did have a 120 Hertz monitor, you could play something like Hogwarts Legacy through Boostroid, which is really impressive actually. So I'm going to move on to another game now, but actually this is all fairly good and fairly impressive actually. Okay, so let's go into something like Sniper Elite. I like playing that sometimes. It's quite a simple mid-range game. I just want to see how that actually performs, and it should perform fairly well, of course. So I got another agreement to sign. You basically have to do that every single time you relaunch the game, or potentially when you relaunch the game, because if you end up on a new cloud server, then you're going to have to redo it again, which is a bit annoying. Oh, what's just happened? Oh, that's annoying. Use Sniper Elite with your Epic account. Can I say no to that? That's another annoying thing you'll see when I play natively. It doesn't do that. But let's click cancel. Can I just play the game? Can I do that? No, it's gone. That's really annoying. So it was launching the game and then Epic decided to, you know, show me that message, and now it's gone. I can't play the game anymore. Let's click on play again. Do you want to keep playing this game? Well, yes. No. It's launched a new window, but Boostroid has said, oh, you're already playing the game, so it's took me back to this blank screen, so that's not going to work. So if I do want to play Sniper Elite 5, what I'm actually going to have to do is play a different game and then go back to Sniper Elite 5. There we are, that is Metro launching, and it did launch, to be fair to it. So I'm going to end that session, and now I can go back and play the game I wanted to play before Epic actually disrupted me. Brilliant. It's now loading. Okay, there we are. No, Epic. I was so close. Okay, allow. I have to click allow, otherwise it's not going to work, is it? You're now logged in. Please close this window and return to the application. How do I do that? There's nothing there. There's no button for... Oh. Where's the button for this? I could actually play... Oh, how do I launch it? I know. Can I start and stop? Will that work? Right, there we are. So, third time lucky, this might actually work. So for future reference, if this does actually happen, I can just, within the Steam client, I can stop the game and restart it, which is all a bit jarring and, you know, buggy, to be honest. It feels like a bit of a mess. Once you're in the game, it's great. We've seen that when I was playing on the TV and even on my laptop and stuff. Once you're in a game, it's fine. And actually, this looks really good. Headshot, brilliant. Testicle shot, sorry. I'm a big kid, but yeah, I always do that. So, right, let's try again. Body shot, there we are, that's what I meant to do. So what are the graphics like? It looks really good to me, to be honest. Game options. So I'm in 4K, there's no upscaling or anything like that. There, what I'm going to do is just whack it straight up to Ultra, because it should be able to support that. You can see the background, yeah, you can see everything changing quite a lot. So we're going to go up to Ultra there, and this is native 4K, and it's got no issues, so it's using close to 80 bitrate, which again is what we were seeing with GeForce Now as well. If I then tried going up to 120 FPS, let's have a look what would happen. So it is doing it, it's rendering at 120 FPS, and I can't benefit from that from my own monitor, of course, but actually the Boostroid service is supporting that which is pretty cool. I'm going to go back though to 60 FPS there. And what's nice as well, I forgot to mention earlier on, but actually if you did have a slower internet connection, like 50, megabits per second, you can lower the bitrate down. So you might say, I'm going to game at 40 megabits per second and leave the rest for people watching Netflix or whatever. So now I've done that, and actually things still look pretty good, even though it's downscaled down, or the bitrate has gone down. Yeah, it doesn't look quite as good, to be honest. I can kind of tell it's not quite as sharp. So things are compressing a little bit, but the fact that you actually have that option, as you do with GeForce Now, is really good. And I think now I'll play Cyberpunk. That's always a good game, really, in terms of judging the graphical quality and things like that. So that's it starting up, and let's see how long it takes to actually get into it. Right, there we are. So that is loaded, and yeah, that looks really nice. Yeah, so much better than on my own computer with an RX 6700 XT. I mean, you can see the reflections are really good there. Yeah, that is pretty impressive. I mean, everything looks pretty good, and this is native 4K, so, you are actually, it is quite computationally expensive, and we see in, fairly good results, and obviously we could probably turn on FSR and stuff if we wanted, but yeah, haven't needed to, so this is actually pretty impressive. I'm going to try with one final game, but once I'm actually in the games themselves, the Boostroid service is flawless. I mean, the graphical quality is brilliant, and as we can see, it would work fine as well if I actually had a 120Hz monitor. That would work fine too. Maybe I'm getting slightly less FPS rates than that, but nothing much really. This is pretty good. So that is that. Let me do one final game. Let me go for a slightly random game. So maybe I'll go with Serious Sam 4, so that's a slightly older game. I just want to see if there are any bugs or anything like that, because it's a slightly less popular game. What's it doing? Go. Your system doesn't meet the minimum requirements. Unable to detect graphics hardware. That's worrying. Do you want to continue anyway? Yes. Do you want to skip the message in the future? Yes. Ooh, that doesn't look good. Bloody hell, that is awful graphical quality. Please, oh, we can't have that. Options. Ultra. GPU speed. Ultra. GPU memory. Ultra. Let's put everything as ultra, and let's see if that's a bit better. Yeah, so this looks fairly good. This is actually, apart from being quite a stressful game, this is actually quite a good experience. This is an older game, but in general, this is... Well, I was going to say, well, there we are. I completely suck at this game, but that works too. So that is 4 games I've played out of my library, and that actually works fairly well as well. So overall, yeah, fairly happy with that. So there you have it. I've played Boostroid quite a lot over the past few days, and my own experience has been pretty good. You do sometimes see people criticize it on Reddit, saying maybe they had low performance, or the bandwidth, the bitrate wasn't very good, and hence the gaming quality wasn't very good, or maybe they had, too long queues, or too much crashes and things like that. I didn't personally see any of that. I tried playing at peak time, I tried playing at off-peak time, and everything was fairly flawless. But it might actually depend on where in the world you're based, because if you're based in an area that doesn't have many Boostroid cloud servers, but they have a lot of players, then obviously you're going to have a slightly worse experience than if you live in an area with less Boostroid players. So that is something to be aware of. But when I think back to my GeForce Now experience, it wasn't that good, because by default GeForce Now actually defaults things to 1440p, so even though I was testing it out on a 4K monitor, it was defaulting to 1440p, and everything looked a little bit blurry, especially the Steam client. So I was trying to launch games or accept an agreement, and everything looked a bit blurry and rubbish, especially since GeForce Now actually limits your bitrate way down at first, and you've got to troll through all your settings to actually increase it to 4K resolution. So actually my initial experience with Boostroid was better than with GeForce Now, because I tested it out on a 4K monitor, for example, and it just supported 4K with the maximum bitrate and everything else with no hassle. So I did feel that that was a better thing than with GeForce Now. I also had less issues with things like screen tearing, which plagued my experiences on GeForce Now, and often I had to look in the settings and enable VSync and do different things, but I didn't have any of that with Boostroid either, so that is pretty good. I did probably notice a little bit more lag spikes and things like that with Boostroid though, compared to GeForce Now, so there are some trade-offs, but overall I was actually fairly happy with Boostroid. In terms of pricing, they do have a sale on right now. I think it was going to expire at the start of this year. They've now extended it to April 2025. Overall, I was actually fairly impressed with Boostroid. I wouldn't say it's a worse service than GeForce Now. The main issue I had with it was that it supports less games than GeForce Now. You can actually go on the website for both of the services and just scroll through. And I'd always suggest you actually look through your favourite games to see which cloud platform actually supports it before you actually take out a subscription, because obviously you wouldn't want to take out a subscription to then only find that there's an issue and your game isn't supported or anything like that. And overall, I'm pretty happy with Boosteroid, and at least for me personally, I would happily use it as an alternative to GeForce Now. I didn't see it as a worse service or anything like that. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please click the thumbs up button, and please subscribe to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.